Hello guitar players, today I'm bringing to you a comparison between three guitars made in Japan. Fujigen plant. First one is going to be a Squier, a Fender Squier from the mid-80s. The second one is going to be an ESP from the same era, made in the same plant, almost the same specifications. And the third one is going to be an Ibanez from the early 90s. I hope you will enjoy it. Well, the first thing that I have to show you, I can only take two at a time, is how close they actually are. When you play these two guitars, this is the ESP 400 series and this is the Fender Squier. It's a system one, it means it's got this two pivot point bridge. You notice that they have the truss rod built into the body, so at some degree it feels like a 50s type of guitar. The neck and all that fun stuff, it seems like it was very strongly inspired on those guitars. The sound and the playability is amazing. It's really good. I will actually, this Squier has been one of my favorite guitars for a long time. And so has been this one as well. And the pickups, here's the deal with the pickups. These guitars are 35-ish years old. So this one has the original pickups. This one has, I believe, only one that's original. So it wouldn't be a fair review if I explained you what they sound like as a mean to compare them. Because I don't know exactly what they sounded like when they were holding their stock pickups. I can only tell you what they play, how they play, and more or less the feel that I get from each one of them, and which one I think I would get again or I wouldn't get again. Same thing with the Ibanez. The Ibanez has all the pickups have been replaced. However, I can give you some impressions on it. So this one, the Squier version, and I've seen actual Fenders from the same era in which the only difference is the decal, because they play and look the same, they were made at the same factory, so I guess it was just a marketing thing. This one does not have the stripe in the back. Again, the truss rod is mounted in the body, in the cavity. This one, same deal, but it does have the stripe. 21 frets, 22 frets, and the Ibanez has 24. I'll show it to you in a minute. Obviously the tremolo is different, but you can find this guitar with the same tremolo as this one, the classic Fender tremolo. I just happened to get this one at a great price, so I just didn't care so much about the tremolo thing. They are very responsive, very playable. The neck has a curvature to it on this one. It really feels vintage, the way it's made. I guess that was the whole idea. Not only the looks, but also the playability of this 50s era. This one is kind of strange. It does seem to have also a curvy radius, but it feels much faster than this one. The output on this one is louder. Again, this one does have the original pickups. The output seems a little higher than I would expect. I've played guitars from the 50s and they were usually very quiet when it comes to volume. They had the cycle ham, but the volume was not too high. And this one, it's kind of higher. But it does sound, it's got a quack, it's got the Fendery type of tone. Even though, like I said before, comparing the pickups wouldn't be fair, I'm still gonna play them for you guys to hear what they sound like right now with this configuration, just for the heck of it. The plate in the back, this is very much a Strat copy. A very nice Strat copy, but still Strat copy made at the same factory that still makes Strats. So the back, the body, everything feels very, very similar. The color is a little different, I think. Not very different. Actually, when you see them face to face, this one is a little clearer, but almost the same. One thing that you probably know about ESP is that dating a ESP based on the serial number, if they were fairly antique, it's very, very difficult. So I know this is from the early 80s, but I'm not sure exactly about the year. And what else? Staying in tune. Neither of the two stay amazingly in tune, I have to say. I don't know if it's the nut or it's simply the fact that they've been worn out through the years. But if you use the trem, they are gonna go off. It's almost certain. Particularly if you go crazy. If you do a very slight vibrato, it's not gonna be the case. I know for a fact that this is an issue in more of these two models because I've had another one like this, same exact deal, and I currently have one like this in a different color, and same deal applies. It stays maybe a little better than this one, but not really a whole lot more. Again, built in the same factory, same era. Since this is the most different one of the bunch, I'm gonna compare it with the ESP. Again, same place, made at the same factory. The body on this one, this by the way is it's an Ibanez RT Retro Series 640. So why did I bring this one? Well, because it's supposed to be a guitar made in a traditional way, Retro Series. It was made in 92, I believe, or early 90s anyways, and it's supposed to be a glorified Strat. So a Strat with a modern, but not too modern twist, not like an RG for instance. So it still has, it has a 2 pivot point trem. This one's been replaced. The original one was pretty much the same. The feel of the neck, for some reason these guitars, they feel very, very similar. Like the way they're made, the smoothness that comes with them, it's something very peculiar and characteristic of this factory, which if you have never played a Fujigen guitar made there, I totally encourage you to try, because they are something else. It's probably the best guitars ever made, in my humble opinion, or at least the ones that to my fingers play the best and sound the best. This one is 24 frets. It's a little, the radius is still there, there's still some curve, but I will say it's more like a 12, something like that, more straight. This one's probably a 9. I will venture to say, don't quote me on that, but it feels kind of ish. It doesn't feel to me like a 7, which is, you know, an actual 50s, but I think it's probably around the neighborhood. And what else? Yeah, the feel, the back of the neck on these two is the same. As you can see, they share characteristics, like from the same factory, all 3 of them interchanged. It's like pick and choose type of thing. It's got the stripe. If you notice, I don't know if you can see it, the junction between the neck and the headstock is super similar. It's very Fujigen-ish. This one, though, has a couple of improvements that I really like the truss rod you can adjust here, which is, it makes a world of a difference. Otherwise, when a guitar has the truss rod here, you have to unbolt the neck, and it's kind of a pain because you need to guesstimate if you did the adjustment right, tune up the whole guitar, cross your fingers and hope that you did it right. Otherwise, you have to unbolt and repeat all over, and it can take quite a bit. So I really like this. The flame top is fake. This is all stock, but what I mean by it's fake, it's a photo flame. Instead of putting an actual piece of maple there to reduce cost, they put a picture. Yeah, it's a picture of a nice flame maple top. But it's so well made that if I never told you, you probably will never tell. They made several models of this top, photo flame top. Some of them are very realistic, like this one. Some of them are very exaggerated, and you can tell it's fake because it's too much. It's too shiny, it's too reflective. There's something to it that tells your brain that that's not real. What else? This one does stay in tune unbelievably well. At least this one I have in here. I've had another one. Actually, I had a couple more over the years, and they all stood in tune very well. So I don't know what's the deal. I don't know if the nut is made of a different material up to Ibanez's specifications, but it does stay in tune very well. On this one I have two DiMarzios. I bought this guitar used, DiMarzios came with it, so I don't know the model. But again, I'll just play it so you can hear what it can sound like with nice pickups like this. And what else? Oh, the body on this one. There's a couple differences here. This is not exactly a Strat. They made a little tweak here and there. The body on this one is more of an RG type of body, or at least the way it feels. But the neck feels very much Stratty. It feels like a Stratocaster neck. And notice how the headstock is not tilted, just like all Strats. I'm giving you this one as an example of an Strat, even though it's not really. But it's straight, which I really like, because when you get something like this, you know, if you drop your guitar, the chances that the headstock's gonna break are significantly lower than if it had a tilt. One thing I did not mention is the tuners. On the ESP 400 series, the tuners are the traditional type. As with these ones of course have been replaced, but the original ones, which I recall, and I've had in my other guitars, were also of this type. So not the thin ones that you see in the reissue models by Fender or anything. It's just regular Goto type of tuners. I think they were Ibanez branded, but they were Goto or something absolutely similar. The one on the Squier and the other Squiers that I tried from the same era are also like this, so not vintage. It's weird because the Squier is kind of a mixture between modern and old. I love that guitar, but I have to say, when it comes to the changes they decided to make, I would have taken a different approach. For instance, this bridge kind of, I don't know, it kills if you're thinking about classic, it kind of kills the looks, right? Because it looks very modern. But then they picked as another feature to have the truss rod here, which is very old style, but it's one of those things that's tedious. So I don't know, I'm not sure what they were attempting to do with this. Still, a phenomenal guitar, great playing and looking. So again, the features on this one kind of like, I don't get what they were trying to do. Here in the tuners it says Fender Japan. These are the original ones. But again, this model you also can find with a traditional bridge. So that might look a bit more and feel a bit more like the Strat that you may have in mind if you've played one. The frets, oh yeah, the frets, I forgot to mention. They, on this one, and the other Squiers that I've tried from this era, made in Japan, of course, Fujigen day today, are very, very thin, just vintage style. On this one, same deal. It really feels like an old guitar. I've played guitars from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and they all have this super thin wire, for the most part, that this one resemble. I think it's a matter of taste. I find it very comfortable, and I find that you really get close to the wood, which is nice. But I also like, you know, the thicker fret wire that sounds more metallic and has more. It kind of pushes you to play fast in a way. The Ibanez has a thicker wire, which I think is, considering the vibe that they got, I think is a beautiful guitar. In my opinion, or to my taste, they got everything right. The binding on the body, the binding on the neck is just great. All three of these guitars are very easy to, not very easy, very stable to maintain. The body, the neck doesn't move much. There are no blind spots. It's not fret bass is almost inexistent. It's just a great deal of a guitar. So if you find yourself one, go for it, because you're unlikely to regret so. Pricing. This one, until a few years ago, Philip McKnight, a very popular YouTuber, made a review on one of these and said that this is a great alternative to Sur guitars. Before this time, these guitars used to run for $400, $500 used. There's different series. This is the 650 model. There's the 450, I think there's 150, and something in between. Now the price has gone up like crazy. I'm not blaming McKnight. It might be a coincidence, but as a matter of fact, yeah, these ones increased their price, like at least doubled their price. I've seen them go for 800-ish now, so it's just top price. Same thing happened with this one, but I have nobody to blame on the 400 series by ESP. It used to be that you could buy one for as low as $400, not many years ago, actually. I would say 3-4 years ago. Right now, I've seen them now for crazy for $1,500. So I don't know what that's all about. From time to time, you'll get one pop in the 600, 800 range, which is a fair range for these ones if they are in good shape. But yeah, definitely expensive. Just a curiosity, I paid $450 for this one, and I think I paid $450 for this one too, back in the day. And what else? And I paid $150 for this one. But I know that's a crazy price even for this guitar. I think you can find one of these for $375, $400. And again, if you can pass through the fact that it says Squier in it, and this is as good as it gets. Not for the price, not for an Squier, but for any guitar. This is a great guitar, regardless of the drawing on the headstock. So if you see one of these at a fair price, go for it. I have the feeling they are gonna go up in price as well. And this is my review for these guitars. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions or you think I missed something, I try to respond to my questions on the comments down below. So feel free to ask, I'll be happy to help. See you in the next video.